English Grammar in Years. Raymond Murphy.
Unit 104. Quite, pretty, rather and fairly. A. Quite and pretty are similar in meaning. Means less than very, but more than a little.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of her. She's quite famous. Or, she's pretty famous. Means less than very famous, but more than a little famous.
Anna lives quite near me, so we see each other pretty often.
Pretty is an informal word and is used mainly in spoken English. Quite goes before an.
We live in quite an old house.
Compare.
Sarah has quite a good job.
Sarah has a pretty good job.
You can also use quite, but not pretty, in the following ways. Quite, an, plus noun, without an adjective.
I didn't expect to see them. It was quite a surprise. Equals, quite a big surprise.
Quite a lot of.
There were quite a lot of guests at the wedding.
Quite, plus verb. Especially like, and enjoy.
I quite like tennis, but it's not my favorite sport.
B. Rather is similar to quite and pretty. We often use rather for negative ideas. Things we think are not good.
The weather isn't so good. It's rather cloudy.
Paul is rather shy. He doesn't talk very much.
Quite is also possible in these examples. When we use rather for positive ideas, good, nice, etc., it means unusually or surprisingly.
These oranges are rather good. Where did you get them?
C. Fairly is weaker than quite, rather, pretty. For example, if something is fairly good, it is not very good, and it could be better.
My room is fairly big, but I'd prefer a bigger one.
We see each other fairly often, but not as often as we used to.
D. Quite also means completely. For example,
Are you sure?
Yes, quite sure. Equals, completely sure.
quite means completely, with a number of adjectives, especially sure, right, true, clear, different, incredible, amazing, certain, wrong, safe, obvious, unnecessary, extraordinary, impossible.
She was quite different from what I expected. Equals, completely different.
Everything they said was quite true. Equals, completely true.
We also use quite means completely with some verbs. For example,
I quite agree with you. Means, I completely agree.
not quite equals not completely.
I don't quite understand what you mean.
Are you ready yet?
Not quite means not completely.
Compare the two meanings of quite.
The story is quite interesting. Equals, less than very interesting.
The story is quite true. Equals, completely true.
Exercises 104.1. Complete the sentences using quite. Choose from famous, hungry, late, noisy, often, old, surprised.
I'm surprised you haven't heard of her. She's quite famous.
I'm quite hungry. Is there anything to eat?
We go to the cinema quite often, maybe once a month.
We live near a very busy road, so it's often quite noisy.
I didn't expect Lisa to contact me. I was quite surprised when she phoned.
I went to bed quite late last night, so I'm a bit tired this morning.
I don't know exactly when this house was built, but it's quite old.
(104.2). Put the words in the right order to complete the sentences.
The weather was better than we had expected. It was quite a nice day.
Tom likes to sing. He has quite a good voice.
The bus stop wasn't near the hotel. We had to walk quite a long way.
It's not so warm today. There's a pretty cold wind.
The roads were busy. There was quite a lot of traffic.
I'm tired. I've had a pretty busy day.
Sarah hasn't been working here long. She started fairly recently.
(104.3). Use your own ideas to complete these sentences. Use rather plus adjective.
The weather isn't so good. It's rather cloudy.
I enjoyed the film, but it was rather long.
Chris went away without telling anybody, which was rather strange.
Lucy doesn't like having to wait. Sometimes she's rather impatient.
They have some lovely things in this shop, but it's rather expensive.
(104.3). What does quite mean in these sentences? Tick the right meaning. It's quite cold. You need a coat. More than a little less than very. Section A.
Are you sure?
Yes, quite sure. Completely.
Anna's English is quite good.
I couldn't believe it. It was quite incredible.
My bedroom is quite big.
I'm quite tired. I think I'll go to bed.
I quite agree with you.
(104.5). Complete these sentences using quite. Choose from. Different. Impossible. Right. Safe. Sure. True.
I didn't believe her at first, but in fact what she said was quite true.
You won't fall. The ladder is quite safe.
I'm afraid I can't do what you ask. It's quite impossible.
I completely agree with you. You are quite right.
You can't compare the two things. They are quite different.
I think I saw them go out, but I'm not quite sure.